Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to build a simple QR code generator with HTML, CSS and plain JavaScript. How this works, basically we have to input a URL right here, for example of youtube.com, click on generate QR code and we see a QR code image popped up. And if we scan this QR code image, it will take us directly to youtube.com. It's going to be very simple. If you like such content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's open VS Code and start creating this project from scratch. Alright, so let's start creating this amazing project from scratch. Basically, I have created 3 files, index.html, style.css, and script.js file. And I will begin by creating my boilerplate inside the HTML file. So I'm going to say here for the title, JavaScript QR code generator. Inside the body, I will create a div with the class name of container, which will hold our input, our error message and button and the image, the QR image. So here I'll say input of type text. The ID will be input. Below the input we'll have an empty span for now, and I'll give it ID of span. Here we'll have a button which will say generate QR code. And the ID of this button will be button. And here we'll have an empty image file, empty image element. And let's also attach our JavaScript. So I'm going to say source./script.js and also link our CSS. So I'm going to link the CSS also. And right now, if we open this with live server, we will be able to see this on the right side right here. Just an input field with the button, nothing more. Now let's start writing our JavaScript code. So inside the JavaScript file, I'm going to target the button. So I'm going to say const button equals document.querySelector, and I will say the ID of button right here, and I'm going to attach an event listener to the button, which will be the click event listener. And here I will create a function, so I'll call this const generate QR code, and that will be an empty arrow function. Actually, I'll say alert 123 to test this, and here I will provide the generate QR code function as second parameter. Now hit save and click the button, and we see 1, 2, 3. Our JavaScript was linked successfully and this function was fired. Cool. Now what we will need to do here basically will be first to get the input field. So I'm going to say const input is going to be equal to document query selector, and that's going to be the ID of input. And once we have the input, we can check if we have any value inside the input. If we have entered something into the input, I'm gonna just say input.value.trim. So I will trim the empty spaces, and I will say length greater equal to 0. If that's the case, we will have to show error message. We'll have to show the error message and hide the QR code image. Okay, and in the else part we will have to hide the message, so hide error message and show the QR code image. How we will achieve this right now? Well, to show the error message, we can target the span element right here. So I'm going to say const span equals document query selector, and that's with the ID of span. Okay, and we can say inside the if span.inner HTML to equal please enter text. Once I save and we click the button, we see please enter text right here. And when we enter some text, for example this, and click the button, we need this text to disappear. So here we can directly say span.inner HTML to equal empty string. And now if we click the button again, we see please enter text. If we enter some text and click the button, we don't see it anymore. Cool. What we need now, So show error message and hide the QR code image, show error message and show the QR message, hide error message and show the QR code image. Let's show the QR code image. So the way we will achieve this will be by targeting our image right here. So I'm going to say document. Let's give it an ID also here, ID of image for the image. So I'm going to say document query selector ID of image, and I'm gonna say dot source. So the source attribute of the image, which is empty right now, will be populated with something. So I'll open backticks right here, which is used for string interpolation in JavaScript, and I will type QR code generator. And I found this really nice website, which is goqrcode.me, and it has some documentation right here, Go QR code API, and basically you need this link right here, which is pointing towards the api.qrserver.com v1 create QR code, and here you specify the size, and I will say I want 300 pixels by 300 pixels, and data is the text that the QR code is generated based on. And here, instead of example, I can directly say input that value right here, and we can check what happens. Now, if we say, for example, youtube.com and click generate QR code, if you scan this right now with your phone, it will take you to YouTube because you typed YouTube right here. And this is very simple actually. Now, you have the image, but if you delete and you click the button again, it doesn't disappear. So to make it disappear, you will have to copy this right here, document.query selector ID of image, and come right here and say dot style dot display. So when you have to hide the image, you can say none, okay? And when you want to show the image again, you can copy it, and right here above, below the span, you can say block again. This will hide and show the image when we have something in the field and not. So basically, if we again say https://youtube.com, click the button, we see the QR code image. If we delete and we click the button, we see just the error. Cool. So this is pretty much the JavaScript that we wrote. Let's quickly open our styled CSS file and start styling this amazing project. Now, inside the CSS, I'm going to say box sizing, border box, and padding of 0 and margin of 0. And let's also provide a nav bar right here. So I'm going to say nav QR code generator for the nav bar, and the footer basically will be the same with an ampersand copy sign, and also 2024. Cool. We see the nav bar appeared. Now nav and footer. So footer display of flex. Actually, first let's do background color of black, color of white, font size of 24 pixels, save, text align of center, okay, and a height of 10 VH. So basically 10 viewport height, this would be this. Display of flex, align item center, and justify content to be center. Okay. For the footer, basically we need the same styles, except that we want the font size to be 14 pixels or 16 pixels, let's say. Then after we have the footer styled, we can target the container that holds the rest of the elements, and you can say height of this to be 80 VH. And now you can see that we have the footer and the navbar at the top and the footer at the bottom, and we have the content in the middle. Cool. Say display flex for the content, align items to the center, and justify content also to the center, and also give this flex a flex direction of column. Okay. Now for the input, let's say we want the input to be with width of 300 pixels, padding of 10 pixels, font size of 16 pixels. Okay, and the button basically will be with the same attribute, the same styling, and I'm gonna just copy and paste, and then a background color of black and a color of white. Okay, and then margin of 5 pixels top and bottom, and maybe 20 pixels top and bottom, and 0 left and right. If we click the button, we see please enter text. So this pan element will be with a font size of 16 pixels, and the color will be red, and the margin of this will be 5 pixels top and bottom, and 0 left and right. What else? We need to also provide a border of red to the input, but we will need to do that with JavaScript. So basically here inside the if block, we can say input.classlist.add. So we will add another class to this input, and I will call this error. And when we have an error, so I'm going to say .error right here, and then we'll have a border of 1 pixel solid red. Okay. And now if I hit the button, we see that the input has a border. But once we click the button again with some content, I shouldn't see the border. So to remove the border, I can come here and basically right here in the else part, I can say input.classlist.remove, and I want to remove that error class name that I provided, and we can see that it disappeared. Okay, let's see. So generate QR code, we have the QR code, and we delete, click the button again, and we see please enter text. Amazing. I think this was it for today. A pretty simple, nice app with HTML, CSS, and plain JavaScript. I hope you like this video. If you like such content, I recommend you to subscribe to the channel to increase your knowledge and to learn more about JavaScript and web development. Recommend to friends as well. Build this project, be proud of yourself. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I see you again in the future.